On the surface, Entrelac Crochet looks impossibly difficult, but once you learn the fundamentals of how this really interesting technique comes together, it's completely doable, even if you're far from a pro. With this project, we'll have a look at how Entrelac Crochet is worked in the round using the Tunisian simple stitch, one of the many ways that you can work this technique. We'll use a super bulky, super squishy yarn, so you'll have it finished in no time. The step-by-step tutorial is coming up. To get started, make a slip knot with 6 chains. Now you'll notice I'm using a Tunisian crochet hook for this project. It's an 8mm. For some Entrelac projects, you don't have to use a Tunisian crochet hook, but with this bulky yarn, the size of the blocks that we're making, you really do need the extra room to hold all of the stitches. So it really is best if you can get a regular Tunisian crochet hook to work your project. Okay, find the second chain. I'm looking at the back bump here, and insert your hook there. Then yarn over and pull up a loop, and keep the loop there. Then insert your hook in the next chain, yarn over and pull up a loop, and keep going. When you get to the last chain, you should have 6 loops on your hook, and that'll complete the forward pass. But to complete the foundation row here, we still have to work a return pass. To do that, yarn over and pull through 1 loop, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops until only 1 remains on your hook. Then we're left with this little open meshwork that looks like this. Moving on to row 2, find the first bar next to your hook. Notice it has a front and a back. For the Tunisian simple stitch, you'll insert your hook from one side to the other, behind just the front bar, then yarn over and pull up a loop. Leave that loop there, again we're collecting them on the hook, and do the same for the next bar. And keep going. When you have no more bars and you're left with the chain here on the side, find the side loop in the back bar of the chain and insert your hook through both of them. Then yarn over and pull up a loop as normal. At this point, you should have 6 loops on your hook again, and that completes the forward pass. But we have to work the return pass to finish the second row. Yarn over, pull through 1, then yarn over and pull through 2 until only 1 loop remains. Now rows 3 and 4 are worked the same as row 2. Now, to be completely honest here, to read the pattern without having a visual like this is pretty intimidating, especially if this is a new technique for you. But having the pattern in front of you while you see it in action will be helpful for you to really learn the technique so you can use it again for future projects. You can view the pattern for free on my website, or if you prefer to have a copy to print and save for later, you can pick up the PDF from my shop. I'll have a link to both of those options in the description below, so you can do what works best for you. So if you're following along with the instructions, we've wrapped up row 4 for the center block. Row 5 is a bind off row, and it starts quite similar to our other forward passes. Insert your hook through the first bar as if to Tunisian simple stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, but then pull that loop through the one on your hook. Then keep going that way. When you get to that chain again, insert your hook through the same place you're used to working, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull that loop through the one on your hook. Now that's all there is to this center square, so go ahead and trim the yarn and make a slip knot with color B and pull it through the loop to fasten on. We're diving into our second round here, consisting of 4 blocks. Rotate your work and make 6 chains. Then insert your hook in the second chain, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Like our foundation row earlier, keep going for each of the chains. Now what's different here is we need to join it to our other block. So find the edge of the second row in our center block, insert your hook there, yarn over, and pull up a loop. That'll leave you with 7 loops on your hook, and now for a return pass. Yarn over, pull through 2 until only 1 loop remains. So pretty much forget about the return pass you did for the center block. This is the new return pass for you to memorize from here on out. Now moving on to the second row, it's not too different from what we saw in the center block. You'll Tunisian simple stitch in each stitch for the forward pass. But of course, when you get to the end here, you'll insert your hook in the edge of the adjacent block, yarn over, and pull up a loop. That'll get you to your 7 loops on the hook, which is our target from here on out. And you'll work your return pass, remember, which is yarn over and pull through 2 until only 1 loop remains. Now repeat the same thing for rows 3 and 4. And you should be able to count 4 rows. Then for row 5, we'll bind off again, just as we saw for row 5 of this center block. The only difference is when you get to the last stitch, you'll join with the slip stitch to the first row of the adjacent block. One quick thing to note before we move on is there are 2 different blocks to this pattern, corner blocks and side blocks. What we've just worked is a corner block. And actually, round 2 is made up of 4 corner blocks. So to continue with the second block of round 2, you'll simply repeat everything we did for the first block, continuing with that same color. So when you have all 4 blocks complete in the second round, it'll look something like this, and you'll slip stitch to the corner of the center block to tidy things up and fasten off. To start the third round, join color C in any corner. And just keep in mind, all new rounds must start in a corner like this. Now simply work the corner block pattern you're already familiar with. When you wrap that up, don't forget to slip stitch to the adjacent block, and now we have a new situation here. We need to fill in this gap, and that's where the second pattern, the side block pattern, comes in. You'll continue with color C and pick up a loop in each stitch of this adjacent block. Then enter your hook in the edge of the second row of this block and pull up a loop for a total of 7 loops. Then work your return pass as usual. Now rows 2 through 5 aren't any different than what you've already seen in the previous round. And when you work through those, your work will look something like this, and all you need to do is slip stitch to the corner of the adjacent block. With that side block pattern completed, we're now at another corner, so we need to work the corner block pattern. Remember, this one starts with 6 chains. And from here, we're at a side, so we need to work the side block pattern. Are you seeing the trend here? Keep going with that repeat, working a side block pattern on your sides and working a corner block pattern on your corners to finish the round. Now, at the end of round 3, your blanket will look something like this. You should end with your hook in this position and fasten off. To start round 4, get color B ready and fasten on in any corner of the third round. Now, you guessed it, you're at a corner, so you'll work the corner block pattern. Then you'll move into a side block pattern to fill in this gap, and another side block pattern to fill in the next gap. And that'll get you to the next corner where you'll work the corner block pattern. So keep going with that repeat to finish round 4. When you finish round 4, slip stitch to that corner and fasten off again. Then add color A in any corner stitch and continue working as we have been. Remember, start each new round with the corner block pattern and follow through with the side block pattern until you reach the next corner. Rinse and repeat. That's the general principle behind this pattern. So the next thing we'll have a look at is what to do at the end of a round when we don't want to change colors. So I've worked through round 5 and I want to keep color A moving into round 6, but to do that and to start a new round, I still need to be in a corner for the pattern to work. So what we'll do to get ourselves in the right position is to keep the same yarn and slip stitch along the side edge of the first block. You'll work 5 of them. Then from here, everything stays the same. Work your corner block pattern, followed by the side block pattern, until you get to the next corner, rinse and repeat. So that's the basic pattern. Next, we'll have a look at the color pattern so you know when to transition from one color to the next. So we already saw round 1 worked in color A, round 2 in color B, round 3 in color C, round 4 in color B, and round 5 in color A. From here, rounds 6 and 7 are also worked in color A, rounds 8 and 9 are worked in color B, and round 10 is worked in color C. Now that's how I have this one laid out here, but please feel free to play with the color pattern. That's one of the fun parts of Entrelac Crochet, and be creative with your blanket. So when you have round 10 complete, go ahead and make 5 slip stitches to the corner because we want to work the half squares, our border, in the same color, but then continue to make 5 slip stitch along the edge of the same block to reach the corner. From here, pick up loops along this block just as you did for the side block pattern. Once again, you'll have 7 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, this time until you have 3 loops on your hook. We have a slightly different return pass here. When you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. So that's our new return pass for this round. This motion here at the end will decrease our stitch count by 1. Then for rows 2, 3, and 4, continue to pick up a loop in each stitch. And for each subsequent row, you'll have 1 less loop on your hook. That's because, like I said before, when you yarn over and pull through 3, you're decreasing by 1. Then for row 5, you'll have only 1 stitch left. Pull up a loop there and bind it off, and slip stitch in the corner of the adjacent block. And that's it. That's your half block pattern. Keep going until you reach the next corner. Then, when you finish the last half block of this side, make 5 slip stitch along the corner block to work yourself to that next corner. And keep going with the same half block pattern. Repeat this for the remaining sides and we're almost done. When you have that finished, go ahead and fasten off. Then all that's left to do is weave in the ends. That's all for now, friend. I hope this project opens your world to even more Entrelac Crochet projects. It's a wonderful technique to try at least once, and you can make some unbelievably gorgeous projects with it. Now don't forget to check the description below for a link to where you can get the pattern either for free on my website or buy the PDF from my shop. And if you haven't subscribed yet, it would be so incredibly helpful if you did. I make crochet and knitting tutorials all the time, and I'd love to keep inspiring you to make something that'll make you happy. If you're already subscribed, if you're liking, commenting on my tutorials, checking out the pattern on the website, or picking up PDFs from my shop, thank you so much because your support keeps this channel going and new projects coming. Happy hooking, and I'll see you in the next one.